Good morning, United Kingdom, and good morning to everyone in the live drive time session. Today, we've obviously sliced down the drive time live sessions to 2 days, and that is mainly because a lot of the topics we were discussing in 2020 also are relevant 21. Seeing that we're not out of lockdown, and a lot of topics that we were covering then were inspirational and reflective on people who were in lockdown, and trying to get them motivated or at least give them a sign of some hope by talking to lots of different people who had either lost their businesses or tried to remodel their businesses to suit the lockdown. And in the same fashion, today's topic, the topic of the week being, you don't really need to see the staircase. You just need to see the first step. That's what we're saying. We're not saying that's a final statement, but we're trying to invoke a bit of thinking from the listeners to say, well, what do you say? Do you need to see the whole staircase, or do you just need to see the first step? Or is this just one process, part of the puzzle? Today, as usual, we'll have Lakhi Singh, who is our Lakhi Singh, the property and business fixer, who obviously is the man behind the alternative business and property solutions community. And at the same time, we'll have we've got a special guest this morning, Norma Knowles. Norma Knowles is obviously going to give us a bit of her background. I hope it is a he or she, sorry. Sounds like a she. So she is going to give us a bit of her background, where she's come from, where she's going to. Is she in business? Is she in property? Or is she a 9-to-5er? Or is she a 5-to-9er? We don't know. She will tell us, and we'll try and get some knowledge from her, because every time we have a guest, and I think I learn more from the guest than I do sometimes from Lakhi Singh and the business models, not the models as in supermodels, but we're talking about the business models as they are. So, it's always a pleasure talking to the drive time audience, because they've got lots of stuff to offer. I think even the simplest of stories have lots of depth in them, a lot of inspiration in them. We had lots of people on who were quite surprised when we said they were inspirational, but everybody in their own right is a superstar, for us at least. And the topic, obviously, for today is how to build your business through networking. And I think what we try to do is we're breaking down the various aspects of the RAC model, the Rescue Associates model, which is a mix of the use of social media, networking skills, telephone skills, remote working from home. It actually falls exactly into the scenario that we're in, where lots of people have lost their jobs. So I'm gonna, without further ado, invite have we got Norma Knowles in the background? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to invite the lovely Norma Knowles on, and we'll try and get to understand where she is in her life story and where she's going. A bit like Simba, but a bit more interesting. Can we have the lovely Norma on? Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Norma. How are you doing?
Firstly, my name is Normie Rose. Yeah.
Apologies. Normally Rose.
Yeah.
I don't know where they got that from, but obviously we know now. Normally Rose. It's a lovely name. Rose as is a rose as in as the rose, is it?
There you go.
Excellent. What type of rose would you call this? Are you a white rose? Are you a red rose, or are you a unique purple, dark brown rose? Which type of rose are you? What do you see yourself as?
Yeah, yellow.
A yellow rose. That's beautiful. Yellow is very lively I think a very lively, very in a sort of an energetic color, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm
Excellent.
energetic, very energetic.
Excellent. That's right. Excellent. Right. That's the image it gives me. Yellow roses, very lively, very energetic, very positive. Probably what the picture I get of a yellow rose. Okay. Normally, is that your first name? Is that spelled as normally, or is it spelled differently?
Normie.
Normie, right? So it's not Lee, it's Yi. Normie Rose. Okay, we got that right. So the first part of the exercise is being fixed because we normally have some. Because by the time it comes on my desk, it's probably written in another way. And unfortunately, apologies. That's what I can say. Right, Normie. Everyone's got a life journey, and I think in lockdown, somehow everybody's life journey has become the same. So it's a bit of a weird situation, whether you're a business person, whether you're a 9 to 5 or a 5 to 9, or you were, uh, stay-at-home mom, whatever you were. Lockdown has brought everybody to the same position in their life cycle. Do you think that's a correct statement?
Yeah, I agree. Lockdown for a lot of people brought out a lot of change,
Mm-hmm.
brought out a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress for some people. But then on the other hand, it actually brought out abundance. They actually did well. So it just depends on the person and obviously what they're into or what they were doing and how they obviously took the lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally believe that um, it's never about the situation. It's always about how you deal with it.
Excellent. Right. Okay, Naomi, give us a little snippet then about your life story. What are you, or what were you doing?
Okay.
And where are you now? And where are you going to? We all get to get a bit of inspiration from you.
Okay. So 4 years ago, I'm a single mom. I have 3 sons. I live in
Excellent.
Birmingham,
You
and
live where?
I live in Birmingham.
Birmingham. Right. Okay.
My eldest child, who's now 22, is a disabled child. Uh,
Okay.
so you can just imagine I've got my hands full. Yeah,
Yeah.
with 3 boys. 4 years ago, I found myself in a position where I was broke. I'd worked for 20 years, from the age of 13 up until 33. And then from 33 up until 4 years ago, I basically did like self-employed stuff where you just buy and sell things online. And 4 years ago, I got to the position where I actually found myself in a position where I was broke. I had no money, I had no job, I had no income, I had no business, I had nothing. Um, so I'm not one to basically just sit down and accept the situation. I've never done that. I've never settled. I've always tried to change whatever situation I was in. Um, so I then got thinking as to, well, what can I do now to change my situation? And one thing I really understood from obviously my marriage, because I was in a marriage basically which was highly abusive. I got divorced 9 years ago. I came out of it, and I've been on my own for 9 years. So one thing I understood is that um, I had a lot of negative people in my life, highly negative around me. And one thing I understood 4 years ago is that if I need to move forward, or if I'm gonna move forward, I have to remove these negative people, right? And it doesn't matter who they are, whether they're your family, they're your friends, whoever they are. You have to keep them at a distance, or you have to just totally eliminate them. So the first thing I did was I got rid of all the negative people in my life. I then started doing personal development. Because obviously, like they say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But if it is broke, you need to change it. So I got into personal development really quickly, and all of a sudden, I just noticed that things were coming towards me. So opportunities were being opened up to me. The way I was thinking was changing. All of a sudden, I was attracting all this sort of abundance and opportunities and people who wanted to give me a chance or a break. And very quickly, I started my first business, which is still going today, and it's very successful, which was a building materials business. And that was basically, that started in, so this was January 2017, and that started in March 2017. So that was the first thing that happened to me. The second
That
thing,
happened in three months of you removing everyone who was negative around you.
yeah, and just getting into personal development.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing that happened was I got asked by this organization in London called Asians in Business, and all of a sudden he asked me to be an ambassador for Birmingham,
Excellent.
at the West Midlands. So that was the second thing. Third thing that happened was I was following a lot of coaches, like these personal development coaches on Facebook, LinkedIn, and all of that. And I got
Who was your favorite then?
my favorite's Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins, right? So the person who can hypnotize you into being who you want to be. Yes, is that the one?
It's
The
not.
millionaire's mindset, is that the one? Guerrilla intensive and all that stuff.
Yeah, he's a mindset coach, and it's never about hypnotizing. It's about making you realize you have the potential.
Excellent.
So I was following Tony Robbins a lot. I used to follow him a lot when I was younger, and then for some reason I stopped, and then I started again.
You mean like stalking him, following, you mean?
No, it's like just watching his videos on YouTube and stuff.
Oh, okay. Then yes, and then what happened?
Yeah, so I was obviously following him, watching his videos. Eric Thomas was another one, and all of a
So
sudden,
did you watch Shallow Hal then? Have you watched that?
I have.
Excellent.
I
So
have.
talking about shallow, before we want to continue, because this is really interesting. Like I said, everybody comes on our show, has a wonderful life. So I think very inspiring to think that you've gone through an abusive relationship, then you've managed to keep a sense of positivity, then you've let go of everyone negative around you, which is an excellent thing to do. I think if everybody around you is negative and they are the consequence of that relationship, I don't know which way around it works. I'm just sort of guessing, but I'm trying to work out that it's probably a manifestation of people around you as well. And it's probably a right thing to do to let go of them. So before we continue with your, wonderful life story, I'm going to ask in another shallow how, Mr. Lakhi Singh. Is he in backstage? Good morning, Mr. Singh. Talking the shallow how.
Hey,
How are you doing?
good morning.
Lakhi Singh is a gentleman that only sees goodness in everyone. He's a bit of he's a natural shallow how who can only see the best in everyone. And so he often gets these large underpants thrown at him. So, but Lakhi Singh, how are you doing, sir, this morning? What's the weather like there in the square mile?
It's bright and sunny today, 8.5 degrees.
Wow, very nice, very nice. And Normie is from the Midlands, Birmingham. I think around the corner from Mr. Ninder Singh Johal, MC, Punjabi MC. So Norma, can you tell us what the weather's like in Birmingham, please?
It's beautiful and sunny.
Beautiful and sunny. Excellent.
Yeah.
So we've got two sunny parts of the country. The lower part where Lakhi's at, and the Midlands where Normie is at. Okay, who have we lost? Is it Lakhi? We lost Lakhi. Right.
So-
Okay, Nomi.
I'll just put it on. What do you call it? I can
Mute.
still hear you guys, but I'm just driving.
Okay, you're driving. Excellent. I hope you're safe and you're strapped in. Is that right, Lakhi Singh?
I am indeed, but you can watch me if you want while I'm driving.
No, I don't want to watch you when you're driving. Right. Okay. So Nomi has a very colourful life story. So I'm just so we've gotten to the fact that she has been through a bit of a trauma in her personal life. I got out of a difficult relationship, I'll call it, 9 years ago, and decided to let go of all the negativity around her about 4 or 5 years ago. And she found when she started to let go of the negative people around her, things started to change for her, which is excellent. And the bottom line is full of energy. It's got a lovely presence about her. And she's gone through the fact that she's got 3 sons, and she says the eldest one is he disabled, or is he physically impaired? What's the situation with the eldest son?
No, he's disabled.
Oh, he's disabled, but otherwise he's perfectly. Apart from his disablement, he's just like any normal, difficult boy. Is that right, or is he one of the good boys? Does he listen to mom?
He's actually the one who's actually the most well behaved, but mentally he's very clever.
Excellent.
He's actually a software engineer, so he's very clever.
He's what?
He's a software engineer.
Right. Okay. So yeah, look, that's the most important thing. He's clever. What about the other 2? You didn't tell me about the other 2 kids. What are they doing?
They're both at school. So one's 16 and one is 11. So they're both at school, but they're very different to the oldest one. I mean, they're sort of bit more mischievous, especially the one. They push your boundaries, as they say. They push and push, whereas the oldest one doesn't. So
excellent. Okay, so we got to that, and she was watching, and she was obviously an avid follower of Tony Robbins, Lakhi, a gentleman you're quite well known to and versed with. Lakhi happens to be one of Tony Robbins' ex-pupils, I think. Is that right, Tony? Is that the way to say it, Lakhi Singh? Were you also one of Tony Robbins' students once? Because I know he used to sell mangoes in the middle of the night. Is that right, Lakhi Singh?
Yeah, I've done all sorts. There's not many things I haven't done. Yeah, put it that way.
Yeah, selling mangoes in the middle of the night is not something an average person can do. It's only the top tier Tony Robbins followers that can do that. Have you ever sold mangoes in the middle of the night, Normie?
No, but
okay. Have you had a large pair of underpants thrown at you?
No.
Well, obviously you're not in Lakhi's league. So continue, Normie, with your wonderful life story. So you now are into mentoring, is that right?
Yes, I'm a life coach. Yeah.
Life coach.
So
tell me, I mean, in this particular era of lockdown and mental illnesses because of lockdown and all the other associated mental conditions, what are you finding? I mean, what's the commonality in a lot of the stuff that you're finding? Is it housewives? Is it business people? Is it a mix? Is it just any common person who's just finding it difficult? What type of people do you mentor?
Everybody.
Everybody, right? Okay.
From women who've been obviously been through domestic violence, to business people, to anybody who basically wants to get over past trauma, who wants to realize their potential, who want to do better in life, who want to be transformed, who want to eliminate their conditioning and start fresh. It just depends, but everybody. But I do predominantly work with women and men who've been subjected to domestic violence, because obviously I resonate with them. And because I've come a long way myself, being a survivor, they seem to resonate with me a lot. And they see the positivity, they see the energy, they go, how are you doing all this? You know, you've got 3 kids, you've got a disabled child, you know, you went through years of abuse. You'd been conditioned. I had been conditioned since birth, because I was married. I haven't had 1, but 2 domestic violence relationships, right?
Okay.
I had been conditioned from birth, and I had been promised at birth to my cousin in Pakistan. So the day I was born, my mother and my uncle spoke and basically said that, well, your daughter is getting married to my son. Right?
It was one of those traditional sort of like agreement between the elders, and the children don't have a say in it, which is what the way it used to be back in the days, I think, everywhere, even with Charles and Diana. I think it wasn't a choice of Charles, and Diana was definitely not a choice either way, and neither was Charles a choice for Diana. So in the old traditional ceremonies of marriage, that was Victorian, I would say, and Elizabethan as well. So it was that traditional type of parents, uncles, aunties deciding whose child going to marry whose child. Is that right?
Yeah, there you go.
And where was this? What part of the world was that?
This was in Pakistan. So
okay.
As I was growing up, I had it constantly put in, like I kept hearing through people and my mom, my dad, my brothers and sisters, and oh, well, you're getting married to so-and-so, you're getting married to so-and-so. And I kept, even growing up, I was a very rebellious child. So I used to just constantly say, no, I'm not. And at the age of 15, because I was in Pakistan for my sister's wedding, that's when they officially came to my house and asked my mom.
So were you in the United Kingdom before 15 then?
Yeah. We were in Pakistan for a wedding, just for my sister's wedding.
Okay, so you were born in the United Kingdom, but you'd gone to Pakistan for a wedding.
Yeah. So after they then came round to our house, because my mum has a house there, and they officially asked for my hand in marriage. And me, despite saying no at the age of 15, I was then pressurized by my grandfather, my auntie, and all my relatives who were there that no, you're going to get married to him. We're going to give you guarantee. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So
guarantee, is that like a return policy type of guarantee, is it?
Yeah, basically, obviously, at the age of 15, you're still a child.
That's right, yes.
Yeah, so obviously I felt pressurized. I felt I couldn't say no. Because
because they had the whole family who were saying, that's it, done. Yes?
Done, basically. And then, despite them coming to the UK and various times saying to my mother that no, I'm not getting married to him. I'm not getting married to him. I'm not getting married to him. Just constant guilt trips, constant blackmail, constant this, constant that. And eventually I then went to Pakistan when I was 22, and I then got married.
Okay.
It didn't last very long. It was very abusive, to the point where I was being starved, beaten, you name it.
What, while you were living in Pakistan with him, or once you returned to the UK?
No, he never came here. I was living there.
Okay, so you lived in Pakistan. Okay, so it wasn't a very comfortable relationship in terms of what you would expect of a marriage. It's probably a shock to you that marriage actually is like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, continue.
So when I was then obviously pregnant with my child, even that was the worst pregnancy I'd never been pregnant before, so I was just so ill the whole time I was there because I was being beaten, even while pregnant, beaten, starved, literally constantly verbally abused. And I was kept, most of the time, I was kept a prisoner in the house. I wasn't allowed to go out anywhere. I never got taken out anywhere. I didn't have any friends. And that was
What
it.
about your cousins and relatives? They weren't coming and going, or were they not made aware of the fact that you weren't being treated? What about the guarantee? The guarantee that was given. What was that for then?
Yeah, what is the guarantee? I mean, how can anybody guarantee anything about?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, I'm finding the word guarantee in a relationship a bit lucid. So was it a guarantee that somebody was going to take ownership of his behavior, or was it just something to get you over the line to get you married?
To get me married, basically, yeah. I mean, nobody can obviously guarantee anybody or promise that they're going to do anything. At the end of the day, it was something that was seen as normal. They actually saw it as normal. They say, "Oh, this is normal. This happens." So we're not going.
What was your husband doing? I mean, I understand. Okay, so he was locking you up or not letting you go out, not letting you, have a social life. So what was your husband? Was he professional? Was he working somewhere?
Professional, own business. They had their own business making, I think it was plastic bags.
Okay, so plastic bag manufacturing or something. Okay, and so was it because could it have been that he was affected by the polyurethane or something? Would that been a cause of his violence?
No, it was basically, it's just the way he'd been brought up. The mother was exactly the same. The mother had been subjected to the same.
So so he'd seen that and he thought that was normality. That's the way relationships are formed.
Yeah. But the thing
Very
is,
sad.
the mother was abusive to me as well because that's the way she'd been, obviously.
Yeah, so there was an element of normality in that. So this is, it's extremely interesting because we're talking about relationships and things like this, and I think the level of I think relationship and abuse in relationships has probably gone up since the lockdown because two people who normally probably interact with each other at certain times in the day and they're limited and they become somewhat a cycle of abuse. How does that affect somebody who's in lockdown, who's there with each other 24 hours? Before you answer that question, because I'm very interesting, I'm going to go back to Lakhi Singh. Because Lakhi Singh, Lakhi, the saying, obviously, for today is don't look at the staircase, just just focus on the first step. So, and you've been in India. You had a childhood in India. Were you subject to any sort of extreme measures that you think were odd with the way that it is in the Western world, or were you given lots of freedoms that you weren't given in the United Kingdom when you were growing up?
Well, obviously, comparing domestic violence and a marriage with abuse to childhood is very different. As a child, I actually had quite an amazing time because when I was a child, 3 years old, I stayed at my uncle's in the farm in the village in Punjab. So because I was the blue-eyed boy, so to speak, or brown-eyed boy, and I was the only cousin from England. I was treated a bit like royalty.
Oh, right, okay.
Kind of strange, so in the sense that
It is quite strange. 'Cause, I mean, look, Normie was also from England, and I would have thought she should have been treated a bit better for the fact that she was from England. But and remember, there's hardly a difference between, in cultural terms, there's hardly a line of difference between the culture that you get in India and the culture you get in Pakistan. But still, it's not nice to hear that somebody could be transmitting abuse. But I assume, Normie, now that you've become somewhat of an NLP or a mentor, you probably realize that it's not their fault. It's probably more to do with conditioning. So how do you now look at that? Do you find, first question I asked you was, has it gone up since lockdown? Has it become difficult? Is it now a bit more aggressive than it used to be with lots of people you're talking to, because now they're sitting together for a long period of time, and that window of taking a breath for somebody who is being abused has become narrower, because now they're literally locked up together in their houses. How are you seeing that?
Yeah. From the first lockdown, it has gone up considerably, because people are just not used to being in the same house for long periods of time. I mean, it's normally set times, it's normally just the evening, because they worked or whatever, and then they're in the house 24/7. And obviously lockdown brings out, like I said before, lockdown brings out a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of uncertainty, and because of that, the levels of domestic violence from the beginning of the first lockdown, March last year, have gone up considerably. I mean, I have a lot of connection with police as well, being an ex-legal executive, and them regularly, and that's all they say. They go, there's two things that have gone since beginning of lockdown last year, and that was, number one was domestic violence, and second one was knife crime. So those two have gone up considerably.
Okay, before we go continue with that, I'm gonna look at two things. We've got a topic for today, which is, don't look at the staircase, take the first step. How do you relate back? I'm going to ask Lakhi this before I come back to you, because you're the expert. But I'm going to ask Lakhi, how do you relate to that? If you're trying to set up a business, or you're trying to get out of a difficult relationship, or you're just trying to, start the beginning of a RAC business venture, which is what you are very sort of hot at the moment in projecting, because it's now a relevant business, whereas you're giving people an option to get in on a basic membership for free. How do you motivate someone who's in any stressful condition just to be able to look at the first step? And before we ask that question from Lakhi, a big shout out to Mandy, to Sonia, to John Smith, and big shout out to everybody. Thank you so much for coming in. So Lakhi, tell me, how do you look at that first step then, when you've got all this trauma going on around you? Then suppose you're in a difficult relationship and you want to, like Normie, selling things online and getting into a motion of being able to support herself, but finding that it all goes pear-shaped because there isn't a market out there, people aren't buying anymore. How do you see the first step? What are the tips that you should follow, Lakhi, when you find, and it doesn't have to be domestic abuse, does it, Lakhi? I mean, the trauma that people suffer when they're in lockdown are varied and different, isn't it, Lakhi? Lots of different type of stresses that people are in lockdown. So how do you see the first step? How do you ignore the staircase? What do you do when you can't see where the RAC business model is going, and all you can see is it's just a free entry into self-employment. How do you motivate someone to take the first step and not worry about how big or how much money? Because I know the potentials in the income are six-figure numbers, aren't they, for the annual income type of earnings on the RAC model. How do you get someone to take the first step, Lakhi?
Okay, the first thing is obviously sitting at home, being locked up for about a year, although it's not technically locked up because you can go out for an hour or walk the cat or whatever. So it's going to be, a lot of people are going to have somewhat a closed mindset. They're almost, it's a bit like coming out of prison. It's probably not as extreme as all that, but I'm noticing that people have literally locked themselves up. And actually, the BBC News is literally, they've been raptured about it, but they're following everything down to the T. They're like so now somewhat institutionalized in their thinking that anything they look at, they're going to start from a closed mind because they've been closed up for a year. So the first thing I think is that don't predetermine your destiny, or if you've got problems like Normie said earlier, is that you can't really wallow or melancholy or these sort of things in your problems. You really have to rise above that and realize that you are all you need. You are all you need. You don't need anything more because you are the one. And that's the first thing I think you've got to realize, that a lot of people, they don't need any more than they are. And a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, I haven't got this, I haven't got that. So the first step is really self-realization that you're capable, no matter really what your real capability is, because you just have to have the confidence and go through the process. Because if you do look at the basics of what's there, then you can make an informed decision. So the first step is deciding that if you are looking for an income, you are short of money per month, or you can see that your job's furloughed, but your job may not be there after September, then you need to be proactive in thinking ahead. So step one. Step two is that
Is the furlough scheme available until September, is it?
From what I've understood. Normie, do you know any better?
As far as I know, yeah. I think, isn't it October? I thought it was up to October.
Well, it's
still a long way off, and still a lot of uncertainty then, isn't it? Because the longer they leave the furlough, the more incapable businesses will be to get kick-started again after the lockdown. Like he says, it's like being a bit like being incarcerated, isn't it? Out of the understanding of what's happening around you can be very daunting. You can't just switch your business back on, even if you were running just a simple fast food. You can't just switch it on and then think people are going to rush through the doors, because it can be very daunting, because people aren't going to just, you're humans, you can't just switch on and switch off. Okay, Lakhi, continue. Yes.
Okay,
I'm sorry about that. I didn't know about the furlough. Yes.
So I think before you even start looking at the steps, you just need to realize that you are the one. And the way to do some simple things, I think we've had this discussion before, to keep your energy up and your vibration up. Because if it's all about to do with your energy and your vibration. So if you're looking after your diet, you're exercising, you're practicing regular meditation or yoga or something that's going to help you be aligned with your body, soul, and mind. Those things are somewhat critical to your success, I would say. Then I think looking at the program, understanding the basics, going to rescuemyproperties.co.uk, looking at the YouTube clips will give you an indication of all the basics of what the program is about. Then all you got to do is register, and you can either register and actually watch the videos on the CRM system that's there. It's free registration. Just need to pay £40 for the ICO license, which is for GDPR purposes, for data sharing. I think it's simple. So the only three things that people need to be doing is that they need to create a network if they haven't got one. They got to be good communicators. They got to have empathy, and thirdly, they've got to have some knowledge or about property or business. And even if they don't, but they have empathy, that is enough. So how do you make money?
I'm going to stop you there, Lakhi, because you said some important things which lead on to the second part of this week's topic. Building your business through networking. And now I'm going to come back to the wonderful Normie, because in order to be a therapist, obviously you've got to have an outreach. You've got to have people who are going to be coming to you, knowing that they'll get mentoring from you, and somehow you'll be an excellent support mechanism to them. So how did you reach out? How you been able to make your network in your business? How you created a business through networking?
Okay,
Normally.
so let me come to so my first thing, so let me go back to April 2017. April 2017, I got introduced for the first time to network marketing. Okay, I'd never done it before, and it was based around, the meeting that I went to was based around Forex and crypto.
Forex trading.
Forex trading and crypto. And
okay.
Very quickly after borrowing the money to join, because people, like you said before, to do any sort of business with anybody, number one, you have to create relationship, right? You have to build trust. You have to build, you have to do things honestly and with integrity, right? People, I already had a massive following on Facebook, right? And on LinkedIn. And when I joined this network marketing company, and then just started doing things, I don't know, putting posts out on Facebook, very, very quickly, I built a team of over 200 people. Even I shocked myself.
That how easy it was. Okay, just I want to hold you there, Normie, because a lot of people who are listening probably find it going to be really technically difficult to build a business through networking. But you just said you just put a post out and you grouped together about 200 people. I mean, I would have thought it's going to take.
So what happened so I joined the business.
Hours and hours and thousands of pounds.
Yeah, so I joined the business on the Sunday. I remember it very well. It was 2nd of April, 2017. It was Sunday. And on the Monday, I literally just put this post out, and this is exactly what it said. It said, I want to help a lot of people make money. If you can meet me on Wednesday at the Holiday Inn Great Bar, please DM me for a time slot, right? That's all I wrote, right? And I kid you not, I had over 50 people ask for info. So from those 50, after like contacting them all and everything, I had 12 people from all over the UK wanting to come and see me on Wednesday. And I was like, what? How did this happen, right? How does this happen? Because I've got no experience in network marketing at all, right? I then rang my sponsor on the Monday, and I basically said, whatever you're doing on Wednesday, you better stop and change your schedule because you're going to come to Birmingham. And he goes, what do you mean? And I says, I've got 12 people coming to see me on Wednesday, right? And I need your help because I don't know how to do this, right? And he goes, are you seriously kidding me? I says, no, I'm not kidding you. I'm being very serious. And I kid you not, he came down, he got here at 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock our meeting started, and we didn't finish until 6 o'clock. And out of the 12 people, right, they were from Leeds, London, Manchester, Birmingham, right? Out of the 12 people, 9 turned up, right? And out of the 9, 2 joined my business. And you can just imagine my confidence went through the roof, right? Because I thought to myself, this actually works, right?
That's not bad, because that's about a 15% ratio.
Yeah, I know.
Ratio is very high when you're just doing blank marketing. And okay, so this is very inspirational. But
Yeah.
people probably think, oh, I don't know how to use social media. How am I gonna use the RAC network to build people up? And you've just told in a very simple way, putting a post up and just getting people to respond to you.
Yeah.
You picked up a 15% return on ratio. How much did that equate to in business?
Okay, so I basically became successful in that very, very quickly. So I was literally recruiting every day. So I always had at least one recruit per day. And from April to July, I think I must have recruited over 200 people. And then July, I got invited to this millionaire's house in Liverpool, in Formby.
Wow.
It was literally
Very nice.
And he actually called me the female version of him. And I got invited to his house. It was a mansion. It was basically on the Liverpool, in Formby, there's like a footballer strip. And he lives, and I get invited to his house. Wife made dinner, and I got shown around, and I got to meet him properly, and he called me the female version of him, and it just got better and better and better. And then I joined another company. So what happened with that company was it just started not performing very well. So we got to about and results just weren't as good as we thought. And then I then got introduced to another company in October 2017. And
okay, I'm gonna hold you to that now first, Nomi, because I want to flip back to Lakhi Singh, because remember, it is about motivating people, even in your few words of wisdom and explanation. People out there who are going to be thinking, is that how easy it is to get into networking? And then, even though you were not an expert of cryptocurrency, I assume, Lakhi Singh, how does the RAC relate to that? Is that how easy it would be for someone to get into helping people and making money at the same time?
I think possibly even easier than that, because a couple of important things. And first is that with the RAC program, it's not multi-level marketing or network marketing. It's just a second level marketing. So you don't need to get like a Salesforce and a Salesforce and a Salesforce. It's just one Salesforce. So you can have 10 people in your team. So it makes it a lot easier. And then they can technically get more people that you can actually do it that way around. But that's point one. Point two is that it's all online. So you don't have to be meeting somebody, especially in lockdown, to tell them what needs to happen. I presume that was pre-lockdown. Is that right? 2017. That's when you started. Is that normally?
Yeah, obviously. Lockdown was in 19.
Yeah. So basically, what's happened is now with the RAC program, you could do the same exercise online, and there's no costs of actually paying for anything because everything's online anyway. So yeah, I think remarkably similar in terms of getting clients in. If you got that sort of reach, then as an RAC, you could be easily making access of 20, 30,000 pounds a month with that type of structure. So maybe that Normie should be one of our RACs, because she'll be making very good money and helping people at the same time, which is pretty much what she said in her message online.
Wow.
Yeah, well, no, the next bit, Lakhi.
Yes. Okay. So let's. The point I was trying to make is, and this is from what Normie said, is that businesses have an ability to reach inflection and then become out of sync with their customers or their clients or their networkies. So Normie, tell us what happened then. What happened with your change,
So, I
the
always
change in your business to the other?
will always say is everybody wants to make money. Everybody wants a better life. Everybody is looking for ways, right? It's all about the conditioning that you've been conditioned from birth as to how you make money or what you do. And what I understood from 2017 is I needed to change my conditioning. I needed to change my thoughts. I needed to change the way I believed I could make money and go into the unknown, right? I had to go into something I'd never delved into ever to make money, because clearly whatever I'd been doing up until then wasn't working, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's why I thought, right. And my biggest fear, believe it or not, when I joined the network marketing company was, how the hell am I going to recruit? Right? That was my biggest fear. But like I said, people will always do business with people they trust, they like, right? So what happened then, right, was in 2017, October, I then went and joined my second company. And believe it or not, within a space of a year, so October 2017 to October 2018, I built 11,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
11,000.
Yeah.
Excelente. Okay. So, okay, let's now jump back to Lakhi Singh. Some of the clients or some of the people who come looking to become RACs are very insecure about, just like Normie said there. She was, she's like, how am I going to build my team? Now she's got 11,000 people who are on her database, network with her. And it seems like she's got it right. Anyone and everyone wants to make money, and everybody and anyone wants to do business with someone they trust or they like. So the personality is important, trust factor is important, and the fact that there is money to make, they can see it, they can see that there's money to make. How does that relate back to the RAC model, Lakhi? Doing business via networking and actually taking that leap of faith, not to try to see the full staircase, but just start on the first step. How does that? We're just integrating both topics for today. How does that work, Lakhi? Can it work?
Well, I would say, having run the RAC program for about 15 years, it's a bit of a no-brainer, because it's actually probably the simplest solutions in making money, and the one that I think could actually help the most in this sort of market, where Rescue More Properties is actually geared around helping people and make money, which is the slogan of the company. So any conversation we start, if you're here, you want to help and make money, you want to help people and make money, then you're in the right place. So
that's a bit like oil and water, though, isn't it, Lucky? I mean, Normie, can you imagine a business that helps people but makes money? Is that what you are doing at the moment? Is that what you're doing in
Yeah.
your mentoring? How can you put a value to that? Is there a value to your mentoring?
Yeah, of course. Like, I do network marketing now as well. So
Wow.
I'm in two companies at the minute. One is to do with crypto and the other one is to do with services and Forex. And I do both alongside each other, because at the end of the day, I understand that one thing may not be for somebody, but that the other thing might be. So I like to diversify. I have understood from the last 4 years that you can't keep all your eggs in one basket. You have to diversify. I'm even thinking about now going into property, right? That's probably my next project.
There you are. You've got a perfect candidate there, Lakhi Singh, somebody who's looking to go into property. Right. Probably the ideal match made today. Okay. So what you're saying, never put your eggs in one basket. You're helping people, and you're a mentor as well. So how do you put value to mentoring? You haven't explained that. How do you mentor and put value to it? Do you charge by the hour? You just send and put whatever you want into the kitty, and I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you about your issues. How does it work?
Okay. So what happened in 2018 was because I'd been helped so much by my coach or my mentor, I then obviously wanted to do the same for others. So I then went in February 2018 and I qualified as a life coach and NLP practitioner.
NLP practitioner, wow, huh? Right, so you're an NLP practitioner.
Yeah, I'm a mindset coach, NLP practitioner.
You're a mindset coach. So are you somebody who's done the gorilla intensive? Are you a bit of a intense gorilla when it comes to the mindset? Or are you more of a, what's it now? What's the other one? The gorilla intensive, and the other one is the, what's the other course that Mr. Robbins does? One is a gorilla mindset, and the other one was
Unleash your power.
Pardon?
Unleash your power or something.
Your power.
Unleash your power, that's right. Which one? Are you like a Power Ranger, but like Lakhi Singh, who's a Spider-Man in the Square Mile? Are you a bit of a super heroine? Or are you more of a gorilla? Which one are you?
No, I'm number one. That's
You're a super heroine.
In
Right.
2017, I
Yes.
actually went and did Unleash the Power Within with Tony Robbins.
Wow.
Yeah. And I
Unleash the power.
everybody should do it at least once in their life. I'm actually waiting for him to do his live shows again, and I'm going to go again because it's like food. It's like you have to. It's like I don't know what it is, medicine or whatever you want to call it.
It's hypnotic medicine. That's what you want to call it. Is that right?
Well,
it's like intoxicative.
That's the right word, but it's just like I need like a refill. So I'm gonna
You need a dose. You need a dose. Lakhi himself is a walking vibrator in terms of he's done lots of. He's also an NLP practitioner, by the way. Is that right, Lakhi? How many years does the certificate stay valid for? Is it lifetime or is it?
I presume so. I got it about 15 years ago.
Right. So Lakhi Singh is an NLP practitioner as well. So there you are. You've got commonality there. And so the point is, do you go back, Lakhi, to get your shot of medicine regularly?
Good question. No, I don't really. I think I've found a way of keeping myself at a certain level.
On the program, you're on the program. You're on a life program that keeps you dry.
So I don't really need any refills, I think.
Okay.
I think each to their own. I think everybody's different. I've decided that I'm not doing any more programs with anybody because I used to probably be a bit of a program junkie. That's the reason. You can easily get addicted to just doing courses and not taking an action in real life. So
that goes to that same topic we're talking about. How do you focus just on the first step and not worry about the full staircase? Naomi, we're coming to the end of the Today Show. I think we're going to have you back on. Sonia obviously liked you as well. She says, lovely listening to your bits of your life story, because not heard everything in detail, but whatever you've done and however you are, God has blessed you. So Naomi, can you give us your last words before we close up today?
Yeah. To do anything in life, you have to start. If you don't start, you're never going to get anywhere. And what I've learned from the last 4 or 5 years is that I delved into the unknown. And sometimes you have to delve into the unknown. You have to come out of your comfort zone. You have to learn a new skill. You have to go and try something that you would never have tried, because you never know how well or how badly it'll go for you. But if you don't start, if you don't try it, you're never going to know. And
excellent.
Me personally,
and do you think social media is an excellent way of starting, because it's a bit more fast track, isn't it, than having to go out and call people and try to bring them in? I think it's an easier way to get into the market. Is that right, Lakhi Singh?
Yeah, I think probably the easiest way of actually setting something up with very little, well, zero cost pretty much.
Yeah, that's right.
And making good income. Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so we have Deborah who says networking circles are excellent tools, but as long as you make sure that the company that you network or start with has your shared values. And at the same time, you've got Sonia who wants to find you somewhere, I think, Nomi. So we can try and help her through the alternative business.
I'm Nomi.
ABS.
I'm Nomi Rose on FB. I'm Nomi Rose on LinkedIn. I'm Nomi Rose on Instagram.
There you are. We have Sonia there for you. Contact. And you can make contact with Nomi now. Take care, Nomi. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Again, the topic for this week is how, getting started in your business through networking, which you've now found out through Nomi. It's quite easy. You just got to click on your Facebook and send out a small ad and you will get responses, especially when it comes to money, making money, and networking and finding people of the same thought. Thank you so much, Nomi, and thank you much, Lakhi Singh, for your excellent time this morning. We should invite you back in. We may do another one in the middle of the week with you, Nomi, if you want, and try and get you in to take some more energy from you, because you've got lovely energy about yourself. A yellow rose. I like that. Nomi Rose. Take care. Speak to you soon.